Welcome back, viewers, to the Stellar Twin Voyagers program. Today, I, Nova A239, will once again guide you through another adventure of these siblings striving to explore their colorful dreams. Let's together explore the eternity of a million ages and fill our dreams amidst the ocean of stars. Get ready to be captivated by the wonders of the universe and stories full of hope that will inspire us all. After resting, Grandpa and his two grandchildren returned to work in the fields, cutting down corn stalks, sorting them, and then drying them to turn into straw. One by one, they worked on their fields, assisted by their diligent grandchildren, until finally, Grandpa managed to finish working on all the fields. We're done now. Let's leave these stalks to dry in the fields for a few days until they become straw. Now let's help Grandpa prepare the fields. Let's do a bit today and continue tomorrow. We need to get ready to plant winter wheat. Grab your digging forks from beside the shed. Take it slow, you guys. We'll continue tomorrow, Grandpa said. All right, Grandpa, replied both grandchildren enthusiastically. They took their tools and began working alongside their grandpa. With their best efforts, they started aerating their plot slowly. Seeing his younger brother catching his breath, Aster said, "You've been working quite hard earlier. Let me take over today. You just sit and rest over there. I've helped Dad and Grandpa before." Cosmo happily set down his tools and said, "Okay, thanks a lot, brother. I love you, brother. I'll rest for a bit then. Don't push yourself too hard." Cosmo quickly went to the shed and sat down to rest, watching his brother and Grandpa work. Before long, Cosmo started feeling a bit embarrassed just sitting there doing nothing. He got up and approached his brother again. "Brother, I'm going to help again. Sorry for leaving all the tasks to you," Cosmo said with a hint of regret. Aster smiled and said, "It's all right, just a little bit left to do here. Relax over there, you can start working seriously tomorrow." Seeing his grandchildren help so much, Grandpa said, "That's enough for now. You two can go back home. See if there's anything you can help with there. Grandpa will be back soon after finishing this plot. Thank you for helping, and don't forget to bring our sheep for grazing." Aster and Cosmo nodded, tidied up their tools, bid farewell, and headed back home. "Our sons are back," Aster and Cosmo said as they entered the house. "Welcome back, my sons. How was your work in the fields?" asked Mother. "It was enjoyable, Mom," replied Aster. "We're going to take the sheep out to graze first, Mom," said Cosmo. "All right. Oh, can you also pick up the milk from Mr. Ralph's? Here's the money. I haven't had time to pick it up since I've been working in the kitchen since morning," Mother said. "Sure thing, Mom. We'll get the milk first and then go graze the sheep," Aster and Cosmo said. They quickly ran towards Mr. Ralph's farm. "Good afternoon, Uncle," Aster and Cosmo greeted when they arrived at Mr. Ralph's farm. There, Mr. Ralph was busy moving hay. "Ah, Aster, Cosmo, good afternoon. Are you here to pick up the milk?" Mr. Ralph asked. "Yes, Uncle. Here's the money. Please help us," Aster said. "All right, wait here for a moment. I'll get it from inside," Mr. Ralph said. He quickly went inside and brought out 2 milk cans. "Here you go. Take it slowly. Make sure it doesn't fall. Can you handle it?" Mr. Ralph asked. "Yes, Uncle. Thank you. We'll take our leave now," Aster and Cosmo said, then walked slowly towards home, carrying the milk cans in their hands. "Our sons are back," Aster and Cosmo said as they entered the house. By that time, Grandpa had also arrived home. "Ah, my grandchildren are back. Come here, let me help you with those. Clean your hands and feet, and then take our sheep out for grazing. After that, hurry back. Your mother is almost finished preparing dinner," Grandpa said as he helped take the milk cans from his grandchildren. "All right, Grandpa, we'll take the sheep out to graze first," Grandpa, Aster and Cosmo said, then ran towards the sheep pen. "Come on, Cosmo, help me herd these sheep," Aster said as he opened the sheep pen. "Sure thing, brother," replied Cosmo, and together they guided their sheep one by one. Aster and Cosmo let their sheep graze and drink from the nearby river, then hurriedly returned them to the pen. "All right, we're done here. Let's head back home," Aster said. Cosmo nodded, and they quickly ran towards the house. When they arrived, their father was already there. "Oh, Dad's home already. Good evening, Dad. How was your day? Did our corn sell well?" Aster asked as he approached his father. "Ah, my beloved sons, just back from herding the sheep, huh? Of course our corn sold well. Who planted it? It was me and Grandpa. Sweet corn with the finest kernels. Hee hee. Some kind customers also gave us a few bottles of pickles and traditional pickled vegetables. Let's give them to Mom so she can use them for cooking. Oh, and here, I bought you both some new clothes. Go ahead, try them on. Your old ones are getting a bit worn out," said Dad as he took out items from a bag. "Wow, look, brother, new clothes." "Thank you, Dad," said Cosmo. "Thank you, Dad," echoed Aster. "You're welcome. Now go try on the clothes I got you, then put them away and come back soon for dinner," said Dad. "Okay, Dad," replied both sons, taking the clothes their father bought them to their room. "Wow, look, brother. Do these clothes look good on me?" Cosmo asked, trying on one of the outfits. "Certainly, all these clothes are bound to look great. Dad wouldn't have bought them without thinking it through. Let's put them away and join Grandpa, Dad, and Mom for dinner soon," Aster replied. Cosmo nodded and neatly arranged the clothes before placing them in the wardrobe. Then they headed out to meet their parents and Grandpa. "You're back already, how was it? Do the clothes fit you well?" Dad asked. "They fit perfectly, Dad, everything's great," Aster replied. "All right then, let's have dinner. Tonight, Mom made cream soup and buff bourguignon. Enjoy your meal. She cooked a lot, so help yourselves," Mom said. Dad then took several pieces of beef and handed them to his sons. "Come on, eat plenty. Dad's sons must be tired after helping Grandpa in the fields all day." "Thank you," Dad said. "Thank you, Dad," Aster and Cosmo said in unison. Aster also took a few pieces of beef and gave them to Dad and Mom. "Dad, you should eat too. You must be tired after a day of trading in the city." Mom was busy in the kitchen all day as well. Seeing his brother, Cosmo also took a few pieces of beef and gave them to Grandpa. Grandpa, you should enjoy this delicious beef too. You've been working hard at your old age. You must be tired. Dad, Mom, and Grandpa looked at each other proudly, smiling at Aster and Cosmo, who were acting very mature. The family spent a very happy dinner together. As usual, Grandpa rested after dinner, sitting comfortably in the front yard. After brushing their teeth, Aster and Cosmo walked over to Grandpa. Seeing his grandsons, Grandpa greeted them. "Ah, you're done already. Let's go, let's walk to the meadow. Grandpa will tell you another story today. Bring your flashlight, Grandpa will wait for you here." Aster and Cosmo nodded and quickly ran to their room to get the flashlight, then returned to the front yard. "All right, let's go now," said Grandpa. The night air had cooled down a bit, but it was still dry. They continued walking until they reached the meadow, then sat down and Grandpa began to tell a story. "All right, seeing so many bright stars today, and occasional meteor showers though not as dense as yesterday, Grandpa wants to explain about some famous constellations tonight. Let's start with what we can see in the night sky right now. Do you see that triangle over there? Do you know what it is?" Grandpa asked. "The summer triangle, Grandpa," Aster and Cosmo replied in unison. "Good," Grandpa said, "but that's just an asterism, not a constellation. The triangle is formed from bright stars of three constellations, Aquila, Lyra, and Cygnus. Aquila is the eagle, Lyra is the lyre, and Cygnus is the swan. Now, Grandpa wants to tell you an interesting story about these three constellations according to ancient Greek mythology. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes, Grandpa, yes," replied his grandsons. Grandpa smiled and continued, "All right. Let's start with Cygnus the swan. There are several versions of the story. First, the story of Phaethon and Cygnus. Phaethon, the son of the sun god Helios, one day asked his father for permission to drive the sun chariot. Although initially hesitant, Helios eventually allowed it. However, Phaethon couldn't control the horses pulling the chariot. The chariot veered off course, approaching the earth and causing a great fire, as well as moving so far away that the earth froze. Seeing the chaos caused, Zeus, the leader of all gods in ancient Greek mythology, became very angry and threw a thunderbolt that made Phaethon fall into the river Eridanus and die. Cygnus, who was Phaethon's loyal friend, continued to swim in the river to gather his friend's scattered remains. Because of Cygnus's great dedication and love, the gods were touched and turned him into a swan and placed him in the sky as the constellation Cygnus. In another version, Zeus was attracted to Leda, a beautiful queen of Sparta. To approach her, Zeus transformed into a swan being pursued by an eagle, which is the constellation Aquila. Pitying the swan, Leda protected it. From this relationship, Leda gave birth to Helen of Troy and the Dioscuri, Castor and Pollux, who later became the constellation Gemini. Now, Grandpa will tell you a unique story about Lyra the lyre. This is the tale of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus, the son of the god Apollo and the muse Calliope, was an extraordinary musician. He could charm humans, animals, and even inanimate objects with his music. Orpheus deeply loved his wife, Eurydice. One day, Eurydice was bitten by a venomous snake and died. Orpheus was devastated and decided to go to the underworld to bring her back. Orpheus played his lyre and sang a song so sorrowful that it softened the hearts of Hades and Persephone, the rulers of the underworld. They agreed to let Eurydice return to the upper world with one condition: Orpheus must not look back until they both exited the underworld. Carefully, Orpheus led Eurydice toward the exit. Just before reaching the surface, doubt and anxiety gripped Orpheus, and he looked back to ensure Eurydice was following him. Sadly, due to his failure to adhere to the conditions set by Hades and Persephone earlier, Eurydice was pulled back into the underworld, and Orpheus lost his wife forever. After his death, Orpheus was placed in the sky as the constellation Lyra. Next, Grandpa will tell you about the story behind the constellation Aquila, but let Grandpa have a drink first. Grandpa took a sip of water from his thermos and continued, "Yes, now I will explain about Aquila the eagle. This is the story of Zeus and Aquila. Aquila is the eagle loyal to Zeus, often used as a symbol and bearer of Zeus' thunderbolts. One famous story is when Zeus sent Aquila to bring Ganymede, a young prince of Troy known for his beauty, to Mount Olympus. Zeus made Ganymede the cupbearer of the gods, replacing Hebe. As a sign of honor, Zeus placed Aquila in the sky as a constellation. Meanwhile, in another tale, Prometheus stole fire from the gods to give to humanity. As punishment, Zeus chained Prometheus to the mountaintop, where every day a giant eagle, Aquila, would peck at Prometheus' liver. Prometheus' liver would heal overnight, only to suffer the same fate every day. Eventually, Heracles, the Greek hero, came and killed Aquila with an arrow, freeing Prometheus from his torment. Here, Heracles used the arrow that is immortalized in the constellation Sagitta, the arrow to kill Aquila and release Prometheus. Heracles in Greek mythology himself is a renowned hero known for his 12 extraordinary labors. I'll tell you more about Hercules another time, when I talk about Sagittarius and Scorpio. So, that's a brief story about the constellation we see in the night sky. Of course, it's all mythology, but isn't it fascinating to imagine the night sky with these stories attached to it? Aster and Cosmo nodded. "Yes, Grandpa. Very interesting, Grandpa." Grandpa nodded and continued, "Now I will explain these constellations scientifically. There might be some terms you don't understand later, but just remember, I'll explain those terms another day. I'll start with Lyra the lyre. There are several bright stars here. The brightest one is Vega Alpha Lyrae with a magnitude of about 0.03 and located 25 light years away. Vega is the third brightest star in the northern sky and a standard star for photometric calibration. Vega spins very rapidly, causing a slight bulge at its poles. Vega is also known to have several unconfirmed companion stars. The star I'm pointing to is Vega. Then, there's Cheliac Beta Lyrae with a magnitude of 3.52 and located 960 light years away. It's a binary star system with very large and close stars, causing observable fluctuations in its brightness. A bit dimmer than Vega, observe the star I'm pointing to. Also, there's Sulafat Gamma Lyrae with a magnitude of 3.24 and located 620 light years away. It's a bright blue-white giant star visible in the sky, as you can see. Lastly, perhaps less clear are Delta Lyrae, with magnitudes of 5.56 for Delta 1 and 4.30 for Delta 2. Delta 1 is about 1100 light-years away, and Delta 2 about 900 light-years away. They are an optical double star pair that appears close together but are not physically bound. Lyra forms a small parallelogram shape with Vega as its brightest point. This parallelogram shape is formed by the stars Sheliak, Sulafat, Delta 1, and Delta 2 Lyrae. There's also an interesting object in this constellation called the Ring Nebula M57 located between the stars Beta and Gamma Lyrae. This planetary nebula is famous for its ring or donut shape, a result of a dying star like our Sun. Next, I'll discuss Aquila, the Eagle. There are also some fairly bright main stars here. Altair Alpha Aquilae with a magnitude of 0.76 and located 17 light-years away. It's a bright white star and part of the Summer Triangle. Altair spins very rapidly, causing a slight bulge at its poles. The star I'm pointing to is Altair. Then there's Taurus Gamma Aquilae with a magnitude of 2.72 and located 460 light-years away. It's a large and bright orange giant star, easily found due to its proximity to Altair in the sky. Lastly, Alshane Beta Aquilae with a magnitude of 3.71 and located 45 light-years away. It's a yellow subgiant star, slightly fainter than Altair and Taurus. Aquila has a straight line configuration of 3 bright stars, Altair, Taurus, and Alshane. This formation is often called the 3 stars and is easily recognizable. Aquila also features an interesting nebula, NGC 6709, located near Zeta Aquilae, which is an open cluster with several bright stars, visible well with a small telescope. Now, the last one is the Cygnus constellation, the Swan. There are also several bright stars visible in this constellation. First, there's Deneb Alpha Cygni with a magnitude of 1.25 and located 2,600 light-years away. It's one of the brightest stars in the sky and part of the Summer Triangle. Deneb is a massive white supergiant star. Then there's Sauter Gamma Cygni with a magnitude of 2.23 and located 1,800 light-years away. It's situated at the center of the Cygnus constellation and surrounded by numerous gas and dust nebulae. Next is Albireo Beta Cygni with a total magnitude of 3.08 and located 430 light-years away. Albireo is a double star system consisting of a bright orange star and a dimmer blue star, often considered one of the most beautiful double star pairs to observe. Lastly, there's Gemma Epsilon Cygni with a magnitude of 2.48 and located 72 light-years away. It's an orange giant star. Cygnus is known for its Northern Cross, or Swan Cross, shape, with Deneb at the top, Albireo at the base, and Sauter at the center. This constellation resembles a flying swan with outstretched wings, with its tail Deneb, head Albireo, and wings Gamma and Epsilon Cygni clearly visible. Can you see that shape? Aster and Cosmo nodded, and Aster replied, "That's right, Grandpa. It does look like a swan spreading its wings." Grandpa nodded and continued to explain, in this constellation or nearby, there are also many fascinating nebulae. For example, the North American Nebula NGC 7000 near Deneb. This is a large emission nebula resembling the shape of the North American continent, visible well through a telescope or binoculars. There's also the Pelican Nebula IC 5070 near the North American Nebula, resembling the shape of a pelican. Lastly, there's the Veil Nebula NGC 6960, NGC 6992, NGC 6995 near the star 52 Cygni. This is the remnants of a supernova seen as a branching nebula structure. It's one of the most beautiful and complex deep sky objects, consisting of delicate filaments that look spectacular in astrophotography. Then there's NGC 6888 Crescent Nebula in Cygnus, which appears as an emission nebula resembling a crescent moon. It's formed from stellar wind from the Wolf-Rayet star WR136 interacting with ejected material from its earlier stages. Also, there are Messier 29 and Messier 39 in Cygnus, which are open clusters easily visible and offering beautiful sights through small telescopes. Yes, that's what I can share for today. Fascinating, isn't it? Absolutely, Grandpa. Very fascinating indeed, Grandpa. Turns out the night sky holds many intriguing secrets, right, Grandpa? I've learned a lot. Cosmo, we should study harder so we can know even more about the wonders of the universe, Aster said enthusiastically. Grandpa smiled, seeing his grandchildren so excited. Yes indeed, you're still very young. Use your time wisely so you can become great people in the future. For now, let's just enjoy this magnificent night sky, Grandpa said. They continued to admire the night sky while softly singing. That concludes today's episode of the Stellar Twin Voyagers. Fun, wasn't it? Would you like to explore the amazing cosmos up there together with us? Therefore, stay tuned to our program, and we'll meet again in the next episode. In short, I'm Nova A239, delighted to share stories with you.